make your thighs like butter.
Song that's going to make you horny and hungry. Can't believe I forgot about sandwiches.
Sandwiches are good song. It's fun.
I'm not a big sandwich guy, but I made one the other night. So good. We don't usually have, like, loaves of bread at Casa Cox, but we had one. And I made myself a turkey sandwich. It was very good.
The low-carb bread that they have at Aldi is incredible.
The keto bread?
Yeah.
Yeah, except
Have
they can never keep it in stock. People they get swarmed when they
it's good stuff.
Announce that that's there. I haven't had it, no, but I know that it's a thing, and I know that it's very, from what I understand, very difficult to grab. Hey, if you listen to the show on iHeartRadio from outside of Ohio, let me know where you do that, or somewhere inside Ohio. We do have bureau chiefs in the far-flung corners of Ohio, people who are too far away and have to listen on the app. Well, they don't have to listen, but you take my point.
Right.
If they want to...
That's the way to do it.
The app. The digital application.
Yeah, the app, you have the live stream.
You have everything.
For the people that were wondering if we were taken off of Spotify, it's back up on Spotify, the podcast is. I took care of that. But I had one person say they tried it on Spotify, it wasn't there, so they downloaded the iHeartRadio app and actually like the iHeartRadio app more than they like Spotify.
That's what I tell people.
So
people ask me, and I want to help people when they have questions, but I'm like, I don't know anything about the third-party apps populating this podcast. So the iHeartRadio app is your best bet to do that because, it's direct from us to you.
And they're our daddy.
That's right.
Our radio daddy.
Business daddy, to quote John Oliver.
Yeah, business daddy. I like that.
Alicia lives in Ypsilanti, Michigan. That's where she listens, up there in Ypsi. April is in Moore Park, California. Doug is in Carlsbad, New Mexico. Bushman is in Denver. Jared and Kelly are in Greensburg, PA, outside Pittsburgh. So those are some of the most recent additions to the Bureau Chief map, which, if you watch the show, you can see right over Bill's shoulder. And there are new pins that I'm putting in that map almost every day. And like, if I were to point out JJ in Sydney, New York, would you be able to find JJ in Sydney, New York?
Where's
I imagine it's upstate somewhere.
I don't see.
But it might be
all the way up here.
Might be so small that it didn't.
Schenectady.
Might be.
I don't know where it's.
Okay, it might be so small that it didn't get its own pin. Okay. It's in Delaware County.
Which is.
You know where Delaware? It's probably closer to.
It might be down all the way over here. No, that's Jamestown.
It's going to be northeast of Binghamton.
Okay, I found Binghamton.
All right, southeast of Syracuse.
So I don't think we got him.
All right. Well, maybe I'll have to give him a. Maybe I forgot his pin.
Yeah, I think you did.
Rich is in Kelso, Washington, opposite end of the country.
All right,
I didn't mean to give you work.
I like doing this.
Yeah, all right. It's kind of a learning exercise.
Yeah, I don't see Kelso.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I gave him one for Kelso, Washington. Kelso is going to be outside. It's going to be a little bit north of Portland, closer to Portland than Seattle.
Closer to Portland.
Yeah, so about an hour north of Portland.
Oh, no, I don't see that one.
Really?
No.
Wow.
Because there's a bunch by Seattle. But
well, yeah, we have a lot of people out there. Well, I'll make myself a couple of notations. Right, maybe I have fallen behind.
You have.
I know I've got the most recent ones out, but I'll go through that again with a fine-toothed comb. We've got Mike in Youngstown. You know where Youngstown, Ohio is?
Scoot on over here.
Yep.
Youngstown, right there, yeah.
There it is. There's Youngstown, Ohio.
That one's right on the cusp.
Home of Boom Boom Mancini.
There's some people that can get the signal in Youngstown, and there's some people that can't.
That's right.
And then also, if you'd like to watch the show, I've been cutting the shows into segments. So you can watch the playlist and just get the segments without the long musical breaks that I put in. So if you want to watch live, that's one way to do it. But then you can also watch the playlist if you're looking for a specific segment.
There you go. Alan, some useless trivia for you. Benny Hill played the toy maker in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the guy who hides the children in his cellar.
Oh,
you know, I
creepy.
never saw Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
I have never seen it either.
With it's about the flying car, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I just told you.
No, but like I know what it's about. I think I've just never seen the film.
I didn't know that was.
Yeah, no, that's what
I feel like every car was flying in those old like Disney movies.
Yeah, they were fascinated by flying cars back then. Yeah,
but
Flubber had a car flying.
And it was never there was never any mechanical instrument that was making it fly. It was just magic because they like, yeah, we'll just do this on this green screen, or not even. I don't even think they were using green screens yet. They're using just like a backdrop on a studio lot, and they're like, yeah, it looks like it's flying.
And they'd hang them from a wire.
Right.
A couple of young siblings. Well, I'll read it to you. Truant from school, young siblings Jeremy and Jemima meet the beautiful, truly scrumptious, that's her name, who falls for their widowed father, Caractacus Potts, and his various oddball inventions, including the family's noisy, rebuilt car, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I saw Chitty Chitty Gang Bang. That was a very different film.
I only saw the 8th one.
Strangely, also had Dick Van Dyke in it. I mean, that was his stage name, but, still. It was very entertaining.
Did that have a little explosion?
Oh, it sure did. Yeah, there were pistons and gaskets all over the place in that film. Mm-hmm. Very entertaining. I would play the little Cash Me Outside girl there again, and I'm reminded of the Kylie Jenner is cashing out. She was allegedly this self-made billionaire and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people took umbrage with that. And she referred to herself as self-made. But she is selling the controlling interest in the beauty empire that she created. So she's cashing out of her own business. It's worth $1.2 billion, but she is cashing out for $600 million. You can figure she's a mom now. She probably has other things she wants to point herself to.
So young. Like, literally, what else can you do? You became a billionaire at age 22,
anything
21.
You want.
Yeah.
I know.
Anything you want.
Everything else is just going to seem so small. Like, oh, yeah, I just launched a $1 billion company at age 21. What'd you do?
Yeah, she's selling it to a company called Coty, C-O-T-Y. I feel like they've been around a long time. That's a cosmetic and fragrance company. And
is it going to be the same, though? Isn't the whole idea behind the Kylie Jenner Cosmetics the fact that she was the one telling everybody about it?
Oh, they're not changing anything, yeah.
Right,
but she just sold them the controlling interest, so they own 51% of Kylie Cosmetics.
So she's still going to be like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
She control. I mean, she doesn't control, but like she's in charge of the product, and like she is the face of the company.
And she will essentially be like a board member for the company rather than having to.
Pretty sweet gig.
Oh, of course. Listen, if you can cash out of anything for $600 million.
But if it was worth
keep trying to.
If it was worth $1 billion.
I'm trying to all the time, but no takers.
I don't understand how. Like, didn't she take a loss? I don't understand.
No, whatever a company's worth, and I'm no business maven, clearly. But whatever a company's worth doesn't mean that it's in cash. Like she couldn't write herself a check for $1.2 billion.
I get it.
But when she sells them, the majority ownership stake, 51% is all it takes. She gets like half of what the company's worth. She sells that to them.
Gotcha.
And they give her $600 million. No, I don't know if they're cutting her a check for that or if they're. Yeah, I'm sure she's got options in her own stock. I don't even know if they're public. I don't know if her company's public. I don't know.
I would like $4 million every week for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but it's already the company that owns CoverGirl and Clairol and OPI. And, again, if you are a guy, I'm speaking Greek to you. But I just thought it was an interesting story because I didn't know. I figured she would just keep doing this without selling her stuff to anyone. But I guess that's probably part of building your company, is eventually you want to cash out. That's what's so infuriating about all these way overvalued tech companies. If you've been watching what's going on with this WeWork company, which was just a company that this, another one of these jag-offs who convinced a lot of people to invest money in a company that really didn't make anything. You'd certainly think that by 2019, that portion of life would be over and people would have gotten a little bit more savvy. But this WeWork company, this dude running it, he would basically just lease out office space around the world and then set up little offices there. And it was supposed to be some satellite. Your company could lease this, this workspace. Anyway, the whole thing is a house of cards. They're laying off tens of thousands of people in this company. It needed to get bailed out by another company. But the guy who started the whole thing and sold everybody this line of BS is cashing out with like $1 billion. So if you were somebody working for that company who doesn't have a job anymore, and you're looking at the guy who started it and basically, BS'd everybody, and they're not alone in that. There's all these companies that don't make any money, and then the guy at the top cashes out, which is infuriating to people who aren't at the top, and it's confusing, really. Uber doesn't make any money. Uber bleeds money. But, they get another round of venture capital or whatever. It kind of keeps them afloat. But they get to the point where they're like, we got to lay a bunch of people off. Imagine getting laid off from your side hustle. It's one thing if you lose your job, but like if you're driving
they're not
at night.
firing drivers. They're firing people that are...
They're doing all of it.
That are like working at like the main offices, right?
They're some of that, but they're doing all of it. There have been drivers who they're like, you can't be on the app anymore or whatever.
I feel like that's more performance-based, though.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Alan, now I have the damn song stuck in my head from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah, I've never seen it. I don't know.
I know that song a little bit because of Ace Ventura 2, and Ace Ventura sings it.
Wow.
While he's driving around. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I saw MoNique is trying to get paid. We talked about this a while ago. MoNique, the comedian, says that she wanted a Netflix special. She figures, correctly, hey, everyone else has one. Except, I'm a big proponent of you never want to count somebody else's money, ever. Because what you're worth is not necessarily what someone else is worth, especially in showbiz, where who the hell knows what anything is worth. Mm-hmm. I mean, anything is only worth what someone else is willing to pay for it. In showbiz, who knows? So Netflix was going to do a MoNique hour. Seth Meyers' hour just dropped. Mm-hmm. Very funny. It's called Lobby Baby.
What's her face? Nikki Glaser.
Nikki Glaser.
She just had hers, and she told us how much she got paid.
She got paid $250,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is MoNique? Now, granted, MoNique murders. Okay, when she does clubs, when she does theaters, she is a killer. Whether you like her body of work or not, she does really, really good work. Mm-hmm. I think that she thinks that Oscar got her nothing. Mm-hmm. And she deserves more than what she's getting. So Netflix offered her $500,000. Now, in the wake of guys like Eddie Murphy and Chappelle and Seinfeld and Chris Rock, all these people, Amy Schumer got $1 million.
Amy Schumer got more than $1 million.
She got like 18 million.
No.
Yes, she did.
I thought she got $1 million.
She originally got
$18 million?
She originally...
For like 2 specials, yeah.
Actually, she originally got 13, and then I think the special did so well, she went back to her agent, and they renegotiated, and she got more money. So that's how she got the 18. But yeah.
But that sounds to me like that's part of a deal where she has to create content for them in the future. Like the Eddie Murphy deal is because they get all of his catalog. Mm-hmm. He did Dolomite for him. He's doing other things for him. Seinfeld, his deal was that he took his Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee catalog,
right,
and gave it to Netflix. Yeah. And Netflix will also get the show when Hulu's done with it. So MoNique is not, she's not charging racial discrimination, because you can't do that, but she's claiming pay discrimination. That all these other comics are getting these big ticket offers, and she's not. My thought is, God bless you, you are not Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle.
No.
You are not Eddie Murphy.
But you're a $500,000 comic.
I don't think
she's
a
nothing to
$500,000.
sneeze at.
I don't. But
you think she's more than that?
I think she's like $1 million comic.
I think if you haven't done a special in a long time, which she hasn't.
But she's been doing her own, but she's been blackballed. This is where this all relates back to, is she's been blackballed in the industry, and they assume that she's
an a-hole,
She's
right?
a pain in the ass.
Okay,
that's why she gets blackballed.
But I'm just saying, comedy alone, I think she is $1 million comic. It's the stuff on the outside or that goes on behind the scenes that people have a problem with.
Well, there's consequence to your actions.
Sure.
If you're an a-hole that's hard to deal with, they don't want to pay you.
But at the same time,
they don't want to deal with you.
Homie who was tossing off in front of girls, he's still doing these clubs and he still gets specials.
No, he doesn't. Louis C.K. hasn't gotten a special since then. But the point he
would produce his own specials anyway.
Yeah, he was already using that model.
Yeah.
Now listen, I mean, so Chris Rock gets $40 million. Chappelle gets 60. Ellen gets 20. Mm-hmm. Gervais gets $40 million. Amy Schumer, it says here, $11 million. Okay? It's all a lot of money.
And here's all comics at the top.
But see,
and
Ellen hadn't done a special in how long? And she got $20 million?
But she has the audience that's going to watch it.
Well,
she's going to bring people to Netflix.
But
She didn't bring anybody to Netflix. People
Partly,
are already on.
but here's the thing, though. It's supply and demand. The hook is Ellen hasn't done a stand-up special in 10 years, right? Or whatever
20
it
years,
was.
yeah.
Well, I thought she did. She came back for HBO years ago. Anyway, so if they go, Ellen hasn't done stand-up for 20 years, right? She's coming back to it. There are probably people who didn't even know Ellen DeGeneres did stand-up. So they go, we will give you. What I don't understand is Netflix isn't the only thing out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't MoNique? I mean, listen, this is what Netflix offered her. We'll give you $500,000. And she goes, no, go somewhere else. Like Amazon is starting to dip their toe in the stand-up thing. Gaffigan's on there, and Nick Griffin.
An HBO special.
Who is a
perhaps?
criminally underrated stand-up comedian, I might add. And he ain't out there getting no $500,000. And so and I don't know how you think it's going to benefit you to sue Netflix.
And I also don't.
It's going to make you radioactive to other people who might want to work with you. And I don't know what you expect to get out of it. It's not like they're going to go, okay, we'll give you $1 million.
And having a broad audience is why these people are getting those big numbers. I feel like MoNique, although she's well known, her audience is a very specific audience that's not.
Just say it. The black audience.
Well, black women.
Have you ever been to a MoNique show?
No.
Because I have.
I've never been to a black
I
show.
was the white guy in the crowd. So it's not racist to say she draws a black audience.
Yes, urban
But
audience.
She does.
But it's not even just that she draws a black audience. She draws a small,
A narrow black audience.
A narrow black audience, because there's a lot of people that don't want to watch MoNique because they don't like what she does because she is a jerk, and then there's a lot of people that just aren't interested.
But again, just don't count other people's money.
Yeah.
Get out there. She's a fantastic comedian.
Mm-hmm.
She says that there's a wage gap forced upon black women. So there is a race card she's playing here because she can't look to another black woman on Netflix who got $20 million. So she's saying black dudes and white women are getting a ton of money.
But you can't pay someone $20 million if they're not going to be worth it. They paid Ellen $20 million because she's worth it. They paid that to Dave Chappelle because he's worth it.
Well, and by the way, I don't think that Ellen got $20 million because they were going to get a ton of new Netflix subscribers. She's on free TV every day. I think it was just supply and demand. She hasn't done stand-up in a long time. Same thing with Eddie Murphy. The guy hasn't done stand-up in 30 years.
Right.
Oh, my God, what a huge event for Netflix.
Well,
That'll get some people.
Whether it gets new subscribers, it gets people talking about Netflix. So it gets eyeballs on the app. Which
Wanda
is what
Sykes,
it's all about.
Wanda Sykes said, now she's on Team MoNique.
Mm-hmm.
She said that Netflix offered her less than $250,000. And she said, no thanks. And then they came back to her because she said they moved that comma.
But she's also someone who, as much as I like Wanda Sykes, again, doesn't have the same audience and draw of an Ellen or a Dave Chappelle.
And she's on Epix, I think. I don't think Wanda Sykes ended up going with Netflix. But that's what I'm saying. There's like other streamers that need people in there
they
doing
need
stuff.
content as
Go to
well.
one of them. I don't know. I just think it's really weird.
And the other benefit of being on Netflix is maybe if you don't get as much money the first time around, if your special does well, they'll go, oh, let's do it again. And then you can raise your price tag.
But the thing is, when you do those, you sign like a bunch of contracts, and so you can't tour for 2 years, or you can't use the same material.
You can't use the same
tour.
material.
You can't use the same material, but then you write a new hour, and that's the business. That's how this business is going.
I understand that, but I listened to like her commentary on the whole situation, and I do kind of agree. They're like, oh, they offered me $500,000. She's like, I make that on tour. She's like, they weren't doing me a favor. She's like, that's what I get paid.
Well, then why is she complaining about it?
She's like, I make that on because she said she would like to have a bigger platform, but they're lowballing her.
Well,
She's like, I could just stay on tour for that.
Listen, I would like this company to pay me $500,000 a year. It's not like I don't make a lot of money for the company, but you don't count other. I mean, people go, well, Tiffany Haddish had a Netflix special. With all love and respect to Tiffany Haddish, she's not an amazing stand-up comic.
No.
And they're still trying to make her a thing. She was great in that one movie, but everything else she does,
It's kind of meh.
it's kind of meh.
And
Leslie Jones is doing a Netflix special. I don't know what that's going to look
we'll
like.
see how that goes. And it's one of those things where if she had taken the $200 or the $500,000 and done that, she could, making $250,000 on tour, she could have tripled or quadrupled that number because the exposure that you're getting from a Netflix special is gonna get more people out to your live shows. It's the single best way to get people out to your shows now, is having a successful Netflix special. Used to be HBO, used to be Comedy Central. Right now, it is Netflix.
There were people who could barely fill clubs, and then they got a Netflix hour, and now they're doing theaters.
Right.
Somebody like Ali Wong, who's
Yeah.
really funny, but was barely doing clubbed gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a Netflix special. Now she's doing the Fillmore in San Francisco for 2 nights.
Bert Kreischer, he's got shows this weekend at the Agora. He said he's trying to get 7,000 people to come see him in Cleveland, and he's close to that number. And that has a lot to do with him being on Netflix.
And podcasting and all that.
Yeah.
It's like you got to cobble. You got to cobble
do
together
a lot of different
Yeah.
things, but having that Netflix banner on your special is the most valuable banner to have on your special right now.
Yeah.
I agree, but I just think that she's been there and done that. Like I think she's used to getting these lowball offers ever since Oprah and Tyler Perry kind of like dogged her out publicly. And I just think that she was trying to make a stand.
I'm
not saying she's right.
She's
but I
always
think she's
taking a
thin.
stand rather than trying to be someone that you can work with. And if you are always just being so difficult, then people are like, here's the offer, take it or leave it. We're going to be fine without MoNique.
After a while, if you're digging your heels in all the time,
Mm-hmm.
people are like, okay, you stand there and dig in your heels. We're going to go over here and keep doing what we do. I have to break. Are you guys following Fartgate?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna clue you into Fartgate when we get back.
Fartgate.
All of the other impeachment scandals, Fartgate is the one that is taken front and center, and it has nothing to do with the president.
Can't wait.
I've got what for you? Well, 5 o'clock, I'm going to have another trip to L.A. for you for our sold-out Alter Ego Festival. I will have Black Crowes tickets for you in about a half an hour, too. They are doing their reunion tour next summer. I'll get them to Blossom in August. 35192 if you want to text.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app.